Dylan Sperry would have gone down in history as an ordinary small-town musician. Just a guy with a band, a toddler, and a TikTok page no one really knew about, until her.
Because I'm going to actually tell you guys why I like the guy that I like. So, about 2 years ago now, I was in jail, and I had a very spiritual awakening. I had a vision. While I was in jail, I had a vision of this guy that was in a band, and I seen that he had like a infant child, like a toddler-sized child. From there, I had another spiritual vision of him, like, in that same night. Mind you, this was like 2 years ago, by the way. This is way before I ever met this guy. And, I don't know how to, like, explain visions. I just only really know how to see them. So, I was in jail, and I seen this vision basically pop up like a ring. Okay, a diamond ring. And I was like, okay, so do I get married to this guy? And my spiritual guidance said yes, that I married this guy.
That clip, filmed from what appears to be a private room in a mental health or residential facility, quietly dropped on TikTok. And before anyone knew what was happening, it had pulled the entire internet into one of the most disturbing rabbit holes of 2026. But that was only the calm before the storm. As if the obsession wasn't enough, from a jail cell vision, to believing she's engaged to a man she's never spoken to claiming she's pregnant with his child, to getting arrested over a previous victim.
Who is Timber Sperry, and what is Cody's story? Because she was arrested and jailed long before this Dylan situation happened.
Timber Bowman has turned her TikTok videos into episodes in a real-time psychological thriller. What's worse, the internet has played more the part of a captive audience. They engaged, they fed it. Some people even cheered her on.
Hello, I'm Dylan. I'm alive. I'm okay. Thank you for all of your concern and your support during this.
Now, y'all are probably wondering, how does a woman go from a jail cell to a TikTok sensation while convincing herself she's engaged to a stranger? And what does this say about us humans on the internet that gave her the biggest audience of her life? Before the viral fame and the disturbing rabbit hole, Timberly Bowman was, by most accounts, a woman who had been in and out of mental health facilities and the justice system for years. Her TikTok handle, @TimberSperry3, tells you everything before you even press play. That 3 at the end? That's not a creative choice or showing an unavailability of usernames. That's the third version of her account. The first 2 were taken down. And just in case you find yourself confused on her last name, Bowman is her real surname. Sperry is borrowed. Stolen, actually. Stolen from the man she decided in her mind was already hers. Timber has been open in fragments about her past on TikTok. She's referenced time spent in jail, in residential care facilities, and in what she describes as deep spiritual experiences. She's talked about seeing visions, she's talked about awakening, and somewhere in all of that, she found Dylan Sperry.
About 2 years ago now, I was in jail, and I had a very spiritual awakening. I had a vision. And while I was in jail, I had a vision of this guy that was in a band, and, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I can still kind of see the vision, by the way. And, like, it's so heartwarming. But, like, my heart is literally beating so freaking fast right now.
In her own words,
so about 2 years ago now, I was in jail, and I had a very spiritual awakening. I had a vision. And while I was in jail, I had a vision of this guy that was in a band. But, like, I was in jail, and I had the vision of the guy, and I seen that he had, like, a infant child, like a toddler-sized child.
that vision in jail of a man with a baby became the origin story of an engagement that only one person knows about. Now that right there should have been a sign to everyone that this wasn't your average love story, but was her phone taken away? Was she cautioned? Of course not. The chaos-loving internet leaned in.
We finally have someone who has Cody's actual story from his words. They're here. She never went to school with him. They met by chance. Let's get into it, because what she says on her page in the timeline that I gave you is wildly different than the actual story of her victim, Cody.
Let's take a look at how the story goes from unusual to genuinely unsettling. Dylan Sperry is a very real person who plays in a band called the Bandyote, based in the Midwest. He's got music streaming on all platforms, a small but loyal following on TikTok at the Bandyote, and by every account, he's just a regular guy trying to do regular guy things. So how did their worlds collide? According to deep dive creators who pieced this together, Dylan worked with, or volunteered at, a residential program that served people with mental health difficulties. Timber was reportedly a resident, or at minimum connected to that facility. She overheard him talking to one of her roommates about rock and roll music, about his band.
Y'all heard of the Timber Bowman saga on TikTok? Obviously not. Walk me through it. 2 years ago, she was in jail when she had a spiritual awakening, fellas.
You got a lot of time to think in this.
A vision of a man in a band with a child.
So she had a dream.
In that same vision, she saw a diamond ring. She asked her spiritual guide, does this mean we're supposed to get married? She said yes.
So she's in jail planning on getting married with some single father in a band with kids.
Spiritual guide also revealed his first name starts with D.
But now she's on a mission searching for the D.
But as soon as she moves, she may come across this man.
First, they should keep her locked up.
She encounters the great brother, Dylan Sperry.
That name starts with a D. Now there's my brother Shred.
Picture perfect first date in the produce aisle. The kicker, fellas, that you guessed it.
He has a kid. When in the grocery store, what items are they picking up? Is it dino nuggies?
He's also telling this whole tale, heating up heated clams out of the microwave.
I think that's actually a jail thing.
Plus, he also swears the last 3 songs on his album are about her.
They just fucking met.
But the moment that Timber knew Dylan was the one is when he mounted her TV with a boner.
So Timber would
Had a spiritual wedding date of June 7, 2026. That's less than a month out, fellas.
save the fucking date.
He says the only reason that he has a child is because she was a mermaid in her past life.
From there, she found his band's social media accounts, his Facebook, his TikTok, his whole online presence, and somewhere in that search, the delusion crystallized. She didn't just like him. In her mind, they were already together. In fact, she claims that there's no way she could be accused of stalking him when he himself gave her his social media, a fact that Sperry himself has not confirmed. A Reddit user summarized it bluntly in the TikTok gossip thread about the saga. He worked for a special needs group, and she overheard him talking to her roommate about his band, and through that, she found all of his social media accounts and started stalking him to the point where she's so delusional she thinks they're engaged and about to get married and that she's the stepmother to his child. She's never even had a conversation with this man. Let that land. She's never even had a conversation with this man. She calls herself Timber Sperry. She calls herself his #1 fan. She refers to his daughter as her stepdaughter. She has at various points referred to Dylan as her husband, her fiance, her baby's father, and the love of her life. And Dylan Sperry had no idea any of this was happening until TikTok made it impossible to ignore. To his credit, Dylan Sperry didn't stay silent. He posted a carefully worded video clearly advised by legal counsel addressing the situation without naming Timber directly.
Hello, I'm Dylan. I'm alive. I'm okay. Thank you for all of your concern and your support during this. And thank you to everyone who reached out to make sure that I was okay and that I wasn't in any danger. Apologize if I didn't answer your message. I've been very overwhelmed over the past 48 hours trying to manage this situation.
This man is a victim. He was literally just doing his job, and because he was kind, because he talked about music in front of the wrong person, his name, his face, his family, and his band are now attached to one of TikTok's most disturbing viral moments.
Timber was receiving treatment at a rehabilitation center when she met her counselor, Dylan Sperry. Dylan may have simply picked some flowers and given them to people at the center, but Timber interpreted this as, "He's my husband now." From then on, she began a series of astonishing actions. She became angry, jealous, and posted videos accusing Dylan of giving flowers to others. She even changed her TikTok name from Timber Bowman to Timber Sperry, publicly declaring it a union of soulmates. This is no longer a simple crush. It's a morbid, delusional, romantic obsession playing out in real time. If a man did the same to a female counselor, constantly posting videos, publicly declaring her his partner, and becoming enraged and devastated by her interactions with others, the internet would have been in an uproar with cries of "protect women," and "this is too dangerous." But because the protagonist is a young woman, many voices inexplicably softened, and some even found it cute. No, it's not cute. It's terrifying.
And just like Baby Reindeer, the Netflix series where a comedian is stalked by a woman who convinces herself they're in love, this situation has layers, because while the internet laughed, the victim is quietly navigating a legal minefield with his livelihood and safety on the line. Now here's where things get dark. Dylan Sperry isn't the first man Timber has done this to. Long before TikTok ever knew her name, there was someone else. Someone the internet calls Cody.
So this is Cody's story from his point, and that's the truth because he was the victim. They never went to elementary school together, and she never had any spiritual guidance by his mom. That was just implanted memories that she's doing. Same to Dylan, saying that she met Dylan's family in 6th grade. So these are all false. They randomly met at a friend's house.
According to creator at the Marissa Gold, Cody was a previous victim. Like Dylan, he was someone Timber encountered in a care or facility setting. Like Dylan, Timber formed a completely fabricated relationship with him in her mind. And unlike Dylan, it escalated to the point where Timber was arrested. And there is speculation that it was during the jail time over Cody that she received the spiritual awakening that led her to Dylan. Cody eventually told his story through a third party because he wanted the truth out there. In his own words, she made the entire thing up. Every moment, every memory, every conversation, entirely fabricated. So to recap, she did this before. She was arrested for it, and then she found Dylan. Now, that is not a coincidence, it's pattern. And the scary thing, she's escalating. With Cody, it stayed mostly offline. With Dylan, she went fully public by posting on TikTok daily, going live, tagging his band's page, and declaring their spiritually endorsed marriage is set for June 6th or 7th, 2026. The pregnancy claim. And then just when you thought this couldn't get more layered, she drops a bomb.
Honestly, my baby doesn't like anything sweet, but I'm craving this, so.
Did you catch that? My baby doesn't like anything sweet. She's claiming to be pregnant with Dylan Sperry's child, a man she's never spoken to, a man who posted a video saying he has had no contact with her, a man whose daughter she refers to as her stepdaughter.
My baby doesn't like anything sweet, but I'm craving this, so.
Now, there are a few possibilities here. One, this is a genuine delusion, in which case what we're watching is a real mental health crisis unfolding in real time, being live streamed to thousands of people. Two, and this is what some creators are wondering, the pregnancy claim is meant to keep people talking, to keep the engagement going. Either way, it's deeply concerning. Even more concerning is how Timber claims that Dylan's daughter is actually her child, and she gave the kid's mom permission to carry the baby. In fact, she went on to claim that Dylan and her had known each other since they were kids. If you thought the 6/6/26 wedding announcement was where the delusion peaked, Timber had other plans. It's one thing to announce a spiritual wedding to a man you've never spoken to. It's a whole other level when you start planning the catering.
So guys, I wanted to come on here and make another wedding announcement. You guys agreed, well, we all agreed that we would prefer for you guys to bring food instead of gifts, like a potluck, almost like a big giant cookout. But when you guys bring food, make sure that you label everything, like the ingredients, like even make sure that red 40 is even labeled.
Yes, you heard that right. Timber Bowman has not only announced a wedding date, she has begun inviting people, and in true Timber fashion, she didn't just say, "Come celebrate with us," she told her guests to bring well-labeled food for a potluck instead of gifts. She's coordinating a menu for a wedding to a man who does not know he's getting married. Now, at this point, you have to ask yourself, is this escalating or is this just Tuesday for Timber? Because somehow it keeps going, and every time you think the ceiling's been hit, she finds a new trapdoor to the next floor. For example, the tattoo.
So listen to this, right? So earlier, I was messaging one of my friends about tattoos. And I literally said, I can't wait to get Dylan's tattoos plus his name on me. So I want his ghost tattoo that's on his right arm. I want his shark tattoo that's on his right upper leg. I want his tattoo that are on his legs. They look like swords, like red, or like red sword thing. I don't know. I just think that they look cool. On both legs, and I want the 3 dots on his left ear, plus whatever we decide to get together. Literally tell me why, as I was texting this, something like popped up into my head like, OMG, like it would be so freaking romantic if we got like a 2-duck tattoo.
Timber's been looking at Dylan's social media, which, let's be clear, is exactly what the internet told her to stop doing and exactly what she's continued doing, and she noticed something. Dylan has a tattoo, 2 ducks, and because she wants to get some of the exact tattoos he has, she thinks this is some sort of sign. Think about what that means for a second. This is a woman who's actively, methodically building a shared life with someone who's not participating. She's constructing the relationship piece by piece in public on TikTok, and the algorithm keeps serving it to new eyes every single day. But if the wedding planning and the matching tattoo weren't enough to make your jaw drop, there is one more detail that might be the most revealing of all. Timber is having public arguments with Dylan.
So this is something that I don't really understand. And yes, I'm actually heated. Like, I'm to the heated, guys. I'm to the heated. So make sure that you tag my husband, Dylan Sperry, up into this, because F you, mother trucker. I'm sick and freaking tired of you, honestly, because what do you mean you're the vape lost in the couch cushion? I can't find it. Honey, I never stole your vape. I never stole your fucking vape. But anyways, since it was for me, I am so happy that you've left a little hidden gem for me in the couch.
She posted a video addressing Dylan directly, upset that he is apparently accusing her of hiding his vape. She's defending herself, explaining her side, and calling herself toxic because she calls him, or the person who actually has the vape, who she claims to know, a bitch. Remember that none of this is real, but to her, it is as real as the ring on her finger. Dylan has not accused her of anything. Dylan has not spoken to her. There is no vape. There is no argument. There's just Timber alone responding to a conversation that only exists in her head, and posting it to TikTok for the world to watch. Oh, and by the way, she also has a sneaky link that keeps calling her and visiting her while she's planning a wedding to another man. Or is it the same one?
Sorry that I look like a hot mess, but my sneaky link just gave me a real good time. These are his shoes. Hey, Bookie. Want to come back over tonight? He told me I could have his shoes.
And at this point, we're all exhausted. The internet digs in. Now, we already established that as a kind person, Dylan was being careful in asking the internet to lay off on Timber about the whole thing, but the internet was doing the opposite. Creators started doing deep dives, series started popping up, TikTokers began numbering their parts like episodes of a true crime podcast, and viewers, they were obsessed. By mid-May 2026, the hashtag Timber's Perry was everywhere. People were comparing this to Baby Reindeer. Journalists were writing about it, Distractify published an explainer, Reddit threads were dissecting every video, and in the middle of all of it, Timber kept posting.
Who is Timber Sperry? And where did she go? Because she's been missing for 48 hours. First and foremost, I want to let you know that that AI photo was generated by Timber herself as a representation of this relationship that she believes that she has with him. It is not real, and they are not in a relationship. The scarier part is that she has escalated to the point of saying that she is pregnant with his child, and even though he knows that it's not his child, he's still okay with it. She's not pregnant. All of this is in her head.
But here's the thing that nobody was saying loud enough. All this engagement, the reaction videos, the drama breakdowns, the comment floods, every view, every share, every oh my god comment was making things worse, not better. And then, in the most unexpected plot twist of the entire saga, Timber reached out herself. By part 13, Timber had contacted a content creator directly, in her own words, claiming an assault had happened to her.
At exactly 2:36 p.m. today, Timber made the mistake of trusting this woman, also known as Mama C. She has 500,000 followers and is posting very irresponsibly about Timber, to say the least.
Creators were split. Do you platform a deeply unwell person even to help, or do you ignore an assault claim because the source isn't credible? There's no clean answer. By part 21, the Marissa Gold had spoken to Timber directly on the phone, with Timber's permission.
So about 9 hours ago, Timber posts this story time about JD, Cody, and Taz, and tells another very long story. The first story time is the longest, so let's just dive in. She starts with JD, saying that she went to elementary school with JD and dated him for 2 weeks to a month. He made advances on her. He repeatedly asked her out. She always turned him down, but then eventually, says she'll be his girlfriend, but breaks up with him the same day. Very awkward. She also tells him that she's a lesbian and claims that she talks to his mother and tells his mother that she's a lesbian and she's not interested in his son, which is very interesting because she's taking that from Cody's mom's mouth when Cody said to her, my son is gay, he's not into girls, this didn't happen.
And by part 19, Timber's own cousin came forward anonymously to speak on her behalf.
Last night, I got the rare opportunity to go live and interview Timber's cousin, Timber Bowman, also known as Timber Sperry, because that is the account that she has the largest followers on. She's known for loving this man named Dylan and thinking that they're gonna get married. So when I met her cousin, she was a really, really sweet girl, and I asked her some questions like, how do you feel about the situation, was my first one. And she had said it's interesting for, me and us, because she wasn't really like that as a younger girl. In elementary and high school, things were seemingly okay. Not normal, she said, but not anything crazy. She did indicate that when Timber liked a boy, she really, really liked a boy and sort of fixated on that. So that does seem to be a theme that has gone on through Timber's life.
At this point, this has stopped being a drama. It's now a whole family production. If you thought the cousin was unexpected, there's one more twist. Timber's stepfather, the one she has referenced a bad relationship with, has now showed up in person. This shows that there are real people in Timber's life who know what's happening, family members who care or at least feel compelled to show up for this very real human being, one who's showing almost every textbook sign of a diagnosable condition. Experts call it erotomania, also known as Declarambult's syndrome, a genuine delusional belief that another person is in love with you despite all evidence to the contrary. Classified in the DSM-5, it often begins suddenly and frequently involves secret messages, spiritual connections, fabricated memories. This isn't a quirky TikTok story. This is a diagnosable condition, and the internet gave it a stage. Let's be honest. By watching, clicking, commenting, making reaction videos, are we making this worse?
What if I told you I'm in love with you? Would you still love me if I was a mermaid? Can I plant a seed in your soul? This will all make sense later. I recently became aware of a TikToker named Timber, and she has a bit of a problem. A stalking problem. You see, Timber is obsessed with a man named Dylan, and he's the lead singer of a band she likes. But not only does she like him, she believes she's married to him and that everything in his videos is about her.
Every view confirms in Timber's mind that people see the relationship. Every comment, whether supportive, mocking, or horrified, is engagement. And engagement for someone in a delusional state is fuel, not a reality check. And then there's Dylan, a musician and father who had to come online and address a stalker because TikTok turned his nightmare into entertainment.
So there's this girl on TikTok who genuinely believes that an employee at a residential facility is her spiritually destined husband.
I've been pregnant for 3 years.
Like, I don't know what it is. I just keep having visions of me putting my tongue up his nose, what if he really does put me in jail though? I know it'll only be for a day,
As of late May 2026, Timber is still posting and referencing Dylan as her partner. She's still claiming a spiritual marriage on June 6, 2026, still claiming pregnancy, and lawyers are reportedly involved on Dylan's behalf, and possibly the residential facilities. The internet, as always, is split. Some want her to get real help, some are furious TikTok let it go this far, and some are still watching for the next update like it's a TV show. Timber Bowman has a story the internet cannot look away from. The delusions, the escalation, the pattern, all of it. The very real problem underneath is that when mental illness meets a megaphone and the audience rewards the chaos, everybody loses. Do you think the internet handled this responsibly, or did we all make it worse? Like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. This conversation is far from over. And if you think Timber's story is the most disturbing thing to come out of TikTok this year, wait until you watch our next video. Trust me, you won't see it coming.